Hi everyone, I have Olive on my back. Oh, she's leaving now. Welcome to my July wrap-up video. I had a really good reading month this month, like as in I read a lot of books. I read, let me just quickly count. I read 16 books, which is really good for me. Normally I read about between 8 and 10. So that was really good. I don't know why I read so many. I mean, a couple of them were, like one of them was a novella, one was a graphic novel, so obviously that helps. But yeah, I'm just going to go through in order all the books that I read this month. The first book I read was To Wear a Fey Crown by Tessonja Odette, which is the second book in the Fair Isle trilogy. And this one I only gave 3 stars, which is I think the lowest I've ever rated any of her books. I think it's just because it's the second book in the series. It felt kind of like a filler. Like there was stuff going on, but it was just very, very slow, and I feel like it just took me quite a while to get through. I read some of it in June and continued it through to July, and it just took me quite a while to get through because it was just a little bit on the slow side. It was still enjoyable, but yeah, not as good as the others. And then I read To Kill a Fey King, which is the novella which comes after the second book in that Fair Isle trilogy, also by Tessonja Odette. So it's just a little short novella. I think it was only about 30 pages long, so it was okay. I gave it 3 stars out of 5. It was okay, yeah. Not really got too much to say about that. It was just a really short novella. It wasn't really necessary. Didn't really need to read it, but I just did because why not? And yeah, it was alright. I then listened to Dear Dolly by Dolly Alderton, and this was, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought this was going to be more about her life or something, I don't know. But it's actually, it's where she was being like an agony aunt kind of person. People putting in questions and she was giving like life advice and stuff. So I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't really know what to rate it because it was good. It wasn't like I really like listening to like her advice, like the questions that people are asked, and nothing to do with anything I can relate to, half of them, but the answers that she gives, I like how she takes in everyone's point of view, and she gives some like good advice, the way she words things. I don't know, it was quite interesting to listen to, so I just listened to it while I was driving to work and back in the car. So I'd recommend it if you like that kind of thing, but it wasn't quite what I expected it to be, but it was good enough. It was interesting to listen to. I then read One Perfect Summer by Paige, Toon, and this I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. And this was enjoyable. I did enjoy it, but again, the characters were just a bit annoying, to be honest. And it's basically about a girl called Alice who meets this guy, and some stuff goes wrong and she has to move away anyway, so they probably couldn't be together. But basically he's got like abusive parents and stuff happens, so they can't be together. They don't talk for years. She goes to university and she meets this other guy who she falls for, who I didn't like at all personally. I thought he was an absolute arsehole, but yeah. And then this other guy kind of comes back into the picture and stuff happens from there. But I think what ruined it for me was the ending. I was a bit confused by how it ended. Like, I don't know if I just read it like weirdly, or like I wasn't concentrating or something, but I couldn't really tell exactly who she ended up with. I mean, I do know because I read like reviews on Goodreads and I like looked it up and stuff, and I think I do know who she ended up with, but it just wasn't like the clearest ending. It was a bit strange, and it was almost a cliffhanger-y ending. And there is another book, which is One Perfect Summer. No, this is One Perfect Summer. One Perfect Christmas. But I don't think I'm going to bother with that, to be honest, because it doesn't sound too interesting. I think like I've had enough of these characters in this story. But yeah, that was that. So it was a good read, but just the ending was just a bit strange, to be honest, but it was enjoyable. I then started filming a thriller vlog where I read thriller books for a week, and I have uploaded this video now, so I'll put a card up here and I'll also link the video in the description below if you're interested to know like my further thoughts with these books. So I ended up reading 4 thrillers in that video. Olive, stop it. My cats are scratching the curtains. I started off by reading The Housemaid by Freida Mcfadden, and this is probably my favourite book that I read this entire month. This one was really, really enjoyable. This one I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars, and this one's about a woman who, she's just come out of prison pretty much for, I think she was in prison for like 10 years or something, but you don't know at first why she was in prison. And she goes to work for this really rich family being the housemaid, and there's some weird things going on with the woman that lives there, the wife, and yeah, there's just some really weird things that go on, and it's It's really intriguing, very fast paced. I definitely see why this book's so hyped up. So after that, I then went straight in to read the second book in the series, which is The Housemaid Secret. And this one again was really enjoyable. I love this one as well. I did give this one 4 stars out of 5 instead of, so it wasn't quite as good as the first one, but I did fully enjoy it. I just think like it seemed a little bit messier in plot than the first one, but it still was really amazing. I would highly recommend both of them. The only thing is I would say they're quite similar in the sense that both books follow the exact same structure, but it didn't take away any enjoyment for me. I did really enjoy both. So if you enjoyed the first one, definitely go on and read the second one. After that, I then read Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, and this one's about a couple who have been married 10 years and they go stay, well, the wife wins like a holiday to this weird like converted chapel. She wins this holiday, so she goes there with her husband. I think it's for their 10th anniversary or something. I think it's their 10th wedding anniversary. They go there and it's all just a bit odd. There's a bit creepy things going on. They keep thinking they see someone like spying through the window and like all sorts like that. And there's also, throughout the book, there's like letters throughout the book, which is the wife writing him a letter on each of their anniversaries leading up to their 10th anniversary. So yeah, there's like those kind of things in between as well to split the story up. So I did really enjoy this. I feel like I'd hyped this book up so much though in my head because everyone had said how amazing it is, how amazing this author is, and I think I'd hyped it up way too much in my head. So I was slightly disappointed in that sense, but if I hadn't have had such high expectations, this book I would have fully enjoyed more. But I did really enjoy it nonetheless, and so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then after that I read my final thriller for that video, which was The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. And this one was okay, but yeah, it was like the beginning half of the book was very slow. It was fine, but it was just very slow, so it took me a lot longer to get into. But then the further the story got into, there was like a twist, and the twist was quite different than most thrillers, so I can understand why some people don't like this book, but I did enjoy it. I did like the twist, and up until the halfway point, as I said, it was quite slow, and then it did really pick up after that. So yeah, if you want to know my full thoughts on all of the 4 thrillers I've just mentioned, please go and watch that video. I will link it in the description below. I just vlogged my experience basically reading thrillers for a week, so I go into more depth about my thoughts and feelings about them. I also listened to another random audiobook which was on either Libby or BorrowBox, I can't remember which one, but they linked your library, so they're free for people to borrow. So I listened to this one for free, and it was Life's a Catastrophe by Kirstie Pelling. And this is about a woman, the reason I thought I'd pick it up is because it's about a woman who has 2 cats, and she's like a social media influencer, like she has an Instagram page for her cats, and I just thought that sounded really interesting because I love my cats, and I'm also, well, I can't really say I'm an influencer because I don't have like tons of followers, but you know what I mean, I do like Instagram and stuff like that, so I thought it would be quite relatable, and I did enjoy this book. It was interesting to listen to while I was driving to work and back, and while I was working from home, so I did enjoy it. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars just because it was quite, like, there wasn't a huge amount to it. Like, I don't know, I think like if I was reading it physically, I think I might have been quite bored, but when I was listening to it, I did enjoy it, and I did want to keep listening to more. So I did give it 3 out of 5 stars, and I would recommend it, but probably as an audiobook, because it just kept me more gripped as an audiobook. I don't know, I just have that feeling that if I read it physically, I probably might have DNF'd it or would have struggled to get through it more. But I did enjoy it, so I would recommend it if you have that on your BorrowBox or Libby account. I then read a non-fiction, was How Do Artists Make Money by Sema Martin. And Sema Martin is a pet portrait artist. I follow her on her Instagram, and I followed her for years because also, if you didn't know, I do pet portraits and things like that as well. So like I am mostly self-employed, so I do a similar kind of thing to her, and it was quite interesting because it goes through, I think there was like 20 ways that artists can make money, and it goes through each way, and then it like gives you some resources as well. So one of them, for example, was entering competitions, and there's like a list of all these competitions you could enter and stuff, so that's quite interesting for me, so I can like go through, maybe look up all these competitions, see if there's any I can enter, or like that kind of thing. So I did find it interesting. I found it a really useful little ebook. This was free on Kindle Unlimited, so I just thought I'd read this just because, yeah, always looking for new ideas of how to expand my business, how to keep it running. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, but to be honest, I really didn't know how to rate this because it was a really good book, really useful resource, and I'd say if you are an artist and you want to make money, definitely give this a read because it has lots of good information in there, and Sema Martin's an amazing artist. She has some really good advice to give, so yeah, definitely pick that up if you are interested in that sort of thing. I also listened to another audiobook, which is The First to Die at the End by Adam Silvera, and this one pleasantly surprised me because the first book in the series, well, the first book in this like world, was They Both Die at the End, and that one I only gave 3 out of 5 stars, I think. That one was okay, but it was quite boring, it was quite like mediocre, you know. But then this one I thought I'd listen to via audio, and I did enjoy this a lot more than I thought I would. I enjoyed the characters more, I enjoyed the plot. And basically in these books, there's like a thing called Deathcast. Between like midnight and 2 a.m. on each day, Deathcast will ring up the people who are going to die that day within the next 24 hours. So this one, the first book was like just 2 random people that both got a phone call. Obviously they died at the end, that's in the title. But then this second book, this one that I've just listened to this month, is about the first day that this Deathcast thing ever like was brought out, and not everyone signs up to it. It's optional, you can sign up to it or you don't have to. This is about like the first time it's ever released, and obviously because it's the first time this Deathcast thing has ever been like a thing, you don't know how reliable it is. Some people believed in it, some people didn't. So if some people got a call, they didn't think they were actually going to die that day, or because they don't know whether to believe it. Would you believe it? I don't know. Like in reality, you couldn't ever predict everyone who's going to die that day. There's just literally no way. Because especially as, for example, if you found out you were going to die, someone rang you and said you were going to die that day, you would live your life differently than you would if you didn't find out you were going to die that day. So surely that would change the course of the day and might change if you die or not. So yeah, I find the concept interesting, but obviously unrealistic. It couldn't really happen. And this book definitely had quite a depressing tone. So at the beginning, I almost did like stop listening to it because it's quite depressing, and it was making me have like this weird feeling listen to it, because obviously it's about death and stuff, and I just thought I don't know if I really want to listen to this. But then I did get really into the story and I really enjoyed the characters, and it was very good. So I definitely recommend this one over the first one. This one was a lot better. I then read You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry. I needed something light-hearted after all that like depressing stuff. But yeah, so I read this one. This is my second Emily Henry book that I read, and I did give this 4 out of 5 stars. I wasn't too sure what to give this because there were parts of it that I was just like, ugh, you know, like it's basically about 2 people who are best friends, and they went on holiday every year, every summer, and then all of a sudden for 2 years they don't talk, and you don't know why they don't talk for those 2 years. And then suddenly they get back in contact and they go on this holiday together, the 2 of them, after 2 years of not speaking at all. And like throughout the then timeline and the now timeline, there's things like where she's like, she obviously has strong feelings for him and likes him more than just a friend, but she convinces him to like go on Tinder and meet people on Tinder and stuff. And I was like, if I actually really liked someone, I wouldn't be convincing them to do that because I'd be jealous. So why would you do that? I don't know. I just find certain things like that a little bit stupid. But I did really enjoy it nonetheless. I do really enjoy friends to lovers romance books, and I really enjoy when like they haven't spoken for a long time and like something happens and they get back together. I kind of like second chance romance. I do kind of like that kind of thing, so that's why I did give it 4 out of 5 stars. But there definitely were points in this book that were quite frustrating, but I do recommend it. It was a good read. After that, I read Twisted Games by Anna Huang, and this one my cat has like chewed the cover, which annoyed me. So there's like holes in it and like dents in it and stuff. I don't know if you can see all like here, there's like chew marks and stuff, so that's a little bit annoying. But anyway, this one is the second book in the Twisted series. This one's about a princess who has a bodyguard and he's like really grumpy, that kind of thing. But obviously they end up falling for each other, stuff happens, but then she can't be with him because she's a princess. She has to marry someone who's like got royal blood or whatever, or like part of the royal thing, whatever. She can't marry her bodyguard, that's just not allowed. So yeah, that just goes through that kind of thing, and there's some of the characters from the first book pop up in this a couple of times. Not that much though, I thought they'd maybe be in it a little bit more. But yeah, I did enjoy this. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars as well. Yeah, I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars as well. I did enjoy this. It did take me quite a little while to get through. Like, I feel like it maybe could have been a bit shorter. How many pages is it? 430 something, which isn't too much. It's not too bad, but I did definitely feel like it dragged on at some parts, but I did enjoy this. And also there's quite a few like spicy scenes in this, especially the rain gazebo scene. If you know, you know. Hey Loki, you coming to be in the video? No? Nope. I listened to another audiobook on Libby or BorrowBox, can't remember which one, and this is Ghosted by Emily Barr. And at first I thought this was going to be the book Ghosted, which some other people have talked about. I can't remember who the author of that one is, but this one was something completely different. But I ended up just listening to it anyway, and I did enjoy this one. I ended up giving this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. But then I did think it was going to be more of like a romance, because it's about this girl that meets this guy. They're like, it's like a YA book, so they're like quite young, they're like 16 or whatever, and I thought it was going to be more of a romance, but then there's like a paranormal twist. So I did enjoy this. I thought it was interesting. I like kind of books about like paranormal-y stuff, so it was interesting. There was a bit of romance in it as well, but that I didn't really believe in the romance too much. I thought it was a bit strange, but the actual story I did really enjoy, so I enjoyed that one. Hey. I then read The On Honeymooners by Christina Lauren, and this is actually part of a challenge that I'm filming at the moment, which is swapping my screen time for reading. So when this video goes up, that one won't have been uploaded yet. I'll be uploading my wrap up first, but I do go into more depth about this book in that video, because this is one of the books that I've been reading for that challenge. But I have finished it. I finished it yesterday, because it's now the 1st of August today, so I finished it yesterday just in time for this video. And I did really enjoy this, but I feel like it was just quite cringy at times, so I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's about two people, like the bride's sister and the best man's brother. They both go on this honeymoon instead of the bride and groom, because if the bride and groom come down with like food poisoning and stuff, so they go instead on this honeymoon so that it doesn't get wasted, because it's like non-refundable. So they go and they pretend to be just married, because it's non-transferable as well, so they have to pretend to be the bride and groom that have just got married. So it's kind of like, yeah, and they hate each other as well, so it's like enemies to lovers, forced proximity, and also a bit of like fake dating involved as well. I did really enjoy it, but yeah, it was a bit cringy at times, and I thought the first half of the book was actually less enjoyable than the second half, because the second half of the book is kind of where they're back from the honeymoon, and there's some drama going on with her sister and the couple that actually did get married. There's some drama going on with them, which I found that quite interesting. So yeah, I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I would recommend this. It's a very light kind of summer read, but it's nothing like too deep really. It's nothing like super special, but I did enjoy my time with this one. And then finally I read The Dragon Tea Society by Katie O'Neill, which is a graphic novel. This one's just a little short one. I gave it 3 stars. It was really cute, like the pictures are really, really cute, the illustrations and the colours and everything, they're really nice to look at. But I feel like I didn't give it a high rating because there wasn't much story. It was kind of more of like an introduction, I guess. I mean, there's 2 more graphic novels after that, which I will read, but I'm hoping those ones have a bit more like story to it. This one didn't have too much story, but it was still really, really cute, and it's on Kindle Unlimited, so, you know, nothing to lose, and it was cute. So if you want like a quick, fun little graphic novel just to split up reading normal books, then definitely pick this one up. But yeah, it was just really short, so I couldn't really rate it very high. It wasn't too deep or anything, you know. So yeah, that is all 16 books that I read this month. I had a really good reading month, like I read quite a lot of books, and I'm hoping that in August I will too, although I'm actually getting married in August, and I'm going away after the wedding for like a mini honeymoon, and I'm also going away for my sister's birthday just before the wedding, so I do have a lot going on. So to be honest, I probably won't read half as much in August, but you know, I always try because I enjoy to read. It's like my way of like winding down and getting rid of stress and just zoning out, you know. So we will see how much I read in August. Who knows? Please give the video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye!